Employees need three things to thrive. Yes, just three. Because you see, employees don't thrive because of perks alone. Perks have their place, they are important. They are things people look at when they're looking for a job, but that alone does not help employees thrive and stay healthy. You see, thriving teams share a few foundational elements that we're going to get to in a moment. But when these foundational elements are present, engagement and performance increase. And I know you as a leader for your organization, you want engagement and you want performance to increase and you want a healthy workplace. Everybody wants that. And so let's talk about what are these foundational elements. The first one, the first need is clarity. Employees need clarity in everything they're doing, meaning are expectations clear? Are the priorities identified and communicated clearly, right? They need to know as black and white as possible. Now, healthcare, we live in gray. We work in a lot of gray. But we can still, as leaders, do our best to make expectations and priorities as clear cut, as black and white as possible. I get sometimes it's not, but it's important. Do employees understand their role and responsibilities? And do they understand what everybody else's are? And the reason it's important to understand everybody else's roles and responsibilities too is because if it's not your role and responsibility, but it comes to you, who do you direct that to? Right? Yes, I could go to a supervisor and say, this came to me, but whose job is it? Or I could have saved everybody 5 minutes and just taken it to that person directly, right? Now, as leaders, you might want to be aware of that, and that's okay. And so there needs to be a clarity in how things are communicated and how different tasks are handed over, right? So you might have a certain system for a task that comes to somebody, but it's not theirs, how that's handed over. And so making sure that that's communicated clearly to everybody. Because people not only want to know what's my lane, what's my responsibilities, what are my expectations, but how do I work with everybody else? So how does that work? And the last thing that I think a lot of times can be missed is, do people know how their work, how their role contributes to the mission of the organization? If people are bought into the mission and they know how their work contributes, they're going to be more effective and they're going to enjoy their work because they want it to be meaningful. And that's important. And so remember, first and foremost, employees need clarity, clarity on most everything. That's the first need. The second need is support. What kind of support do employees need to do their job to the best of their ability? So first and foremost, do they have access to you as their leader so they can get guidance when they need it? And what does that access look like? I've known leaders who don't like having an open door policy. I know ones who have. And it doesn't matter which system you set up for access to you. It's how you communicate it and how you respond when people use it, right? Because both options can be effective if the response is positive, right? If you're happy and engaged and want to listen. But if you act irritated because somebody's trying to seek guidance, people are going to shut down and they're not going to do it, right? Other support is there collaboration within the team, right? Where teams and colleagues can support each other in the work they're doing. Do we prioritize collaboration? Do we support it? And the other kind of support is resources. Do employees have access to the resources necessary to complete their work efficiently and effectively? Because if there's a lack of resources, the work can't get done, right? People are going to struggle. And then they're going to feel confused, which goes back to the first need, which is clarity. So we've got first need is clarity. The second one is support. And the third thing that employees need is sustainability, meaning, do they know what their workload is and can it be maintained over time? So is this a workload that has short deadlines and then they don't know what they're doing next? Or is it a workload that, okay, this is their workload, the base, let's call it a baseline of their workload, right? Because we have things come and go all the time. But we have this baseline workload that, okay, this is the job I was hired for. This is the workload I need to sustain. So now I can create that system to sustain it for myself. So they know what that is. In order to have that sustainability, are we providing opportunities for recovery and balance? Right? So if a new task that's higher priority and a lot more workload comes on, what happens to the workload they've been trying to sustain? Are we trying to help rebalance that or provide support so there's more balance and more people to carry that load? And again, recovery time comes up all the time, right? And it's come up in the last three videos. Recovery is important. We think clearer, we're more efficient, we're more creative when we have time to recover, and we sprinkle that throughout our day, and we find ways to turn off at night. So we have to create that time for recovery and balance in order to have the sustainability. And the last part of sustainability is, are we cultivating a culture in the workplace that values long-term performance? So are we assessing and recognizing those who are able to sustain performance long-term and are effective at their job, or are we only valuing these shorter things that come in with the shorter deadlines? The culture needs to value the long-term performance, meaning we want people to stay around for years to come. So let's talk about what happens when any of these needs are missing, right? When people don't have the clarity, when they don't have the support, and they don't have systems to have the sustainability. What happens is we have increased stress because people don't know what to prioritize first. So the nervous system just kind of acts up and goes, everything's a priority, and now I'm in survival mode. People are going to disengage because if they don't have that clarity, they don't know where to start, and they go, I'll just not do anything. I'm going to sit here. So without these three things, disengagement happens, stress increases. We also have a reduced productivity, meaning less gets done. And there's a reduced innovation, meaning creativity is blocked and inventing new ways to do things that maybe streamline things quicker and more efficient. That innovation is not there. And all of this is going to lead to employees who are dissatisfied and are thinking about leaving. So you're going to have higher turnover, which I know is the last thing you want. And I've heard some leaders say, well, I can replace them. You can, but at what cost? Because it costs more to hire and train somebody new than it takes to be intentional to build a culture that people want to stay and to provide that support so people want to stay. It takes both, right? It takes intentionality. It takes providing clarity and support and sustainable practices so people want to stay, because the longer people stay, the more of a healthy culture and rapport you have within your workforce, because you know how people function and how they work together. So if this video at all was helpful, I do invite you to subscribe for more insights on leadership and workplace culture. as this channel is a resource for you, for leaders seeking sustainable performance strategies. But if it also resonates with you and you're like, there are some changes we need to make and I want to make, but I don't know where to start, feel free to schedule a free consult. I'd love to chat with you. The link will be below. It's free to you, just a chance to get some insights. We all want thriving workplaces, and those don't happen by accident. They are built through intentional leadership and creating supportive, sustainable systems.